It's time for another channel update, the 6th channel update to be precise, which means we have an anniversary today. Time to celebrate. Welcome to the Softskill channel. My name is Sebastian Jung and today we've got an anniversary at our hands because 6 months ago this channel started. But before we get deeper into that, we should have our usual review. What did we have during the last couple of weeks? We had how to learn soft skills, the third part in our About Soft Skills series. It was rather well received, so thanks for that. As I mentioned before, it will be the last part of the series for now, but we will continue the series later and have a look at the dark side of soft skills, the mistakes one can make when dealing with soft skills. After that, our series on Schulz von Thun, the famous German psychologist, continued with the square of development. A famous model by Schulz von Thun that isn't well known outside of Germany, so this is one of very few videos that deal with it. And it also has some interesting visual gimmicks, because we used a smart pad that allowed me to scribble on paper while you were able to see my drawing on a screen. So this was interesting. As I mentioned, it's one of my favorite models, so it was a lot of fun to present it. After that, we had an interesting video called Master Your Tools, which is pretty much self-made content by myself rather than being derived entirely from sources. So I'm very interested to see how that one will do in the long run. If you have seen it, please let me know if you enjoyed it and if you would like to see more videos like that in the future. And of course, we've had a book review, Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy, about procrastination. However, as it turned out, there wasn't much information about procrastination in here, which made me be rather critical in the review. Maybe I was a bit too harsh. The book isn't all that bad, but I was somewhat disappointed to find so little information about procrastination in there. Now you're probably excited to know what will be released in the coming weeks. Next week there will be a short introduction to minimalism. Some viewers in the German channel mentioned that this would be interesting for them in the comments, and after it took me quite a while to deliver the video on procrastination, I tried to be a little more on time this time, and I try to deliver this request somewhat sooner. So next week we will take a look at minimalism and we will discuss some trends we had in recent years that were strongly related to minimalism. After that, our Schulz von Thun series will continue, and this time we will talk about communication styles. This is the main topic of Schulz von Thun's second book, Miteinander Reden, Volume 2. As I mentioned before, unfortunately his books have not been translated into English, but this video will give you an opportunity to learn about his model about communication techniques. This is a rather big topic, so I split it up into 2 videos. In the first one we will have a look at communication styles in general. We will see what makes each communication style unique, what are the specific behaviors and communication techniques of each style, and we will also see how they interact with each other, and we will look at different kinds of vicious circles that can emerge there. And in the week after that, third week from now, we will have a look at communication styles again, this time from the perspective of personal development. This time we will deal with the question, if I notice that I use a certain communication style very often or very intensely, how can I improve? How can I develop? And we will look at the approaches available to you in such a situation. Now, the week after that holds a bit of a challenge because, as you know, usually before a channel update, I will present a book review. However, the book I have decided on this time is one that is only available in German. It is from one Volker Kietz and it is called Feierabend, which is a German term that describes first the time in the evening after you finished your work and also the process of finishing your work. Feierabend machen, so basically doing or making. Feierabend means finishing your work and going home. And the topic of this book is interesting because it provides a nice counterpart to some of the books I have reviewed here before. We have had a look at the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and the Why Cafe. And both have a approach to work where work is self-fulfillment, where you do what you really want to do, where you follow your deepest inner desires, and where work is kind of a calling. And last week we had a look at Eat That Frog that was directed, as it seems, primarily at people who view work as a career, who try to advance, who try to get a higher position, better salary, more a better social standing, people who try to climb the career ladder. And so those two we have looked at before. However, there is a third way to approach your work, which is to view your work as merely a job that you do out of necessity because you need the money. And of course, this approach is less glamorous and less exciting than the other two. No one will come saying, "Oh wow, you understand your work merely as a job. Oh, that's so exciting. I love what you do there." Now, this won't happen. It is less exciting, and the point Volker Kietz is making there is that if you have a job that is boring and that doesn't involve any self-fulfillment, that isn't fun, that isn't exciting, and so on, but you need the money and you need to do that job, and then people come telling you, "Oh, your job needs to be a calling and you need to follow your inner desires and whatsoever." Now, this is kind of depressing and it puts a lot of pressure on you because you don't fulfill this image of what a job is, what work is supposed to be. So we will have a look at what Volker Kietz has to say about that. Now, in the English channel, since there is no English version of this book available, it won't be a book review, but I will just present the topic. Of course, I will use this book as a source, but I won't label it as a book review, because that would be somewhat pointless since you can't get the book in English. After that, there will of course be another channel update. If I remember correctly, it will be the first or second day of Christmas, so it will be kind of a Christmas episode. Now, some of you are probably have probably noticed that after 6 months of doing that YouTube channel, I finally bought a second shirt. Now, this isn't entirely true. I own a couple of shirts, but this is related to a new item we have in use. This here is no longer a green screen that is replaced by a background image by the software, as we had in most of our videos up to the one about the square of development, but this is actually a printed piece of cloth, so everything here looks just as you see it. Now, the regular viewers of the channel probably have noticed it before, because here in the English channel we used a green background that now has switched to this sand color. This is a bit unfortunate. I liked having the different backgrounds for the German and the English channel, but this printed background provides some merits. First of all, I can now use green props. I can show a green book without the background coming through, and also we have less visual problems and visual glitches. We always had this flickering at the microphone I showed you before. Also, we had flickering at the table. Shadows often caused flickering, and those problems are gone now due to the printed background. So we now have the same background in the German and the English channel. In order to be able to tell them apart, I got this nice green felt pads. So now we can have a little bit, still have a little bit of visual difference here, but apart from that, the German and English videos will now look alike. This makes it a bit easier to choose clothing. Today I said, well, I'd like to have a shirt that looks somewhat festive. I didn't have any idea what a festive shirt looks like, but I hope this is one. So yeah, since it doesn't have to match two different backgrounds, this makes things a bit easier. But let's get to the interesting part, because we've got an anniversary at hand. I have my props right here, edible props, my favorite ones. And the channel is now 6 months old. 6 months ago, we started Soft Skills English and Soft Skills German. We uploaded our first videos, how to deal with stress, the first part. And yeah, a lot of time has passed since then. It was an exciting journey. It was a big challenge for us. As I told you before, it's not easy to get into this regular routine, to be able to finish one video each week, so we can do the regular upload each Friday, the regular release. But we managed. For the past 6 months, we really managed to release a new video each Friday. We are very proud of that. And there have, of course, been a lot of little changes and adjustments. I just showed you the new printed background. Before I showed you the big lamp we have now to compensate the lack of daylight in fall and winter. And there have been plenty of more adjustments regarding lamps and all the other equipment. And we also made several changes to the videos. We now have these little text elements that make it easier to follow the structure of the video and to know which topic I'm currently talking about. We have this clickable table of contents in the video description where you can jump to your favorite part of the video. We now have a short intro clip at the beginning of each video, and we have this ending screen with the little lion. This is actually quite unsuccessful because those links we display at the ending screen, I think not a single person has clicked any of them yet, but I like the look of the ending screen with the lion, and sometimes if we have any ideas, we do a little gag, a little joke. So this is often quite fun. And regarding material, regarding topics for the videos, I think we barely scratched the surface of soft skills with those first 26 videos. There is so much more we will talk about. There is the whole topic of self-management and time management, and there is so much more to talk about regarding communication, and we barely talked about work-life balance, and there is much more. And of course, there are loads and loads of books, and several more are published all the time, so we won't run out of things to talk about. Feel free to let me know in the comments what you would like to see discussed in future videos. What are your favorite topics? What are your favorite videos so far? And I will try to take this into consideration when I plan the upcoming videos. Thanks a lot for you being here today with us and for being at this channel and being part of the channel. Thanks a lot for your kind feedback and for your likes and for subscribing to the channel. We really appreciate all of that, and we are always happy to see another like or to see another subscription. So thanks a lot for that. Thanks for staying with us, and we hope you will continue to watch the channel and stay with us in the future. So here's to the channel, to the next 6 months, and here's to you. Well, that's pretty much it for today. We will see each other next week when we talk about minimalism. For today, I'll take my leave and eat that cake. Have a nice day. See you next time.